Hey guys, Dr. Dex here. Welcome to the Dr. Dex podcast. My name is Jason Russell. I'm also known as Dr. Dex. I'm accompanied by my producer, DJ Studio Man, who you can hear.
Hello.
But you cannot see. And I am also with a gentleman named Jade Pender. And I've known Jade, we said about 10 years now, Jade?
9 or 10 years. It's been longer than I can
imagine.
Man.
And Jade has a really awesome story. I can't wait to get into it. So Jade, why don't you start by kind of letting everybody know who you are, what you do, and what you're currently up to. And then we're going to hit the rewind button a little bit, and then we're going to get into this story. And there's a really cool section of it that we'll talk about, but we might wait for Patreon for that. But Jade, go ahead. Let her rip.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Jason, for having me on. Yeah, as I said, I forget if it's been 8, 9, 10 years, but the funny part was just thinking about today is I am not like you or some of the legends in the industry. I've been known to know decks and build deck businesses, but I don't pretend to be a deck builder, right? And that's important as we have this conversation because I love a lot of the legends, and we can get into the background. I mean, I have built decks, but my specialty and what I'm doing now is actually standing up and building deck companies, specifically within exterior companies. So a lot of times they'll have window divisions, siding divisions, roofing divisions, and they may have dabbled in decks or not, and they're looking to stand up a true deck division. And as you know, most people know, some people think decks are easy until they actually try it and figure it out and go, oh, this is a little bit harder. So I'm doing that. There's also a really cool company we'll talk about later. It's a modular type kit. High quality though, not your go to Costco and spend $500. So doing some consulting with them as well. And that's what I'm doing today. And it's been a very long journey on both sides of the field per se that's gotten me here.
That's interesting, man. Because we'll dabble in it real quick, but I know that you were in a deck company when I first knew you.
Yep.
And then you started working for TimberTech, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And how long were you there for?
I was with TimberTech a little over 2 years. So
Okay.
that was a short venture. Much love there. Still love those guys today. Yep. But yeah, that was a great pit stop, I'd say.
Okay. And now you're doing what you currently said. You're developing a deck company inside of a exterior company. It's like doors, windows, roofs, whatever. And then you have this and we do decks kind of thing going on, but maybe a little bit more highly customized. Because I know the company that you were with before you went to TimberTech was a pretty respectable deck company as well. Now, was that partially family or was that just no? Okay.
No, that was all. I founded it with a partner, but he ended up going back to Australia 6 months in. So, I mean, it was me, him, and a couple $1,000s and a broken truck window. It was done the old way. Like I said, just because I wasn't always building, trust me, the first couple I was humping the material. I did some reskins, but yeah. So that company did end up in not quite y'all's realms, but it had $500,000 projects. It was known to be an innovative, pretty large size company.
Okay, so where are you currently located?
I am currently right outside of Denver, so just south, right. I think it's called Greenwood Village. Okay,
so you're Colorado. Now, is that where you were before you went to TimberTech?
Yep. So I'm a Colorado native. We can talk more. I've spent some time in Texas, a little stint in California, but I'm a native.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I remember your California visit, but that was when you were with TimberTech, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I lived in Huntington Beach there for a brief time. I wish, exactly. I wish I was there a little bit longer. It was
cha-ching. But man, the investment just to live there is substantial compared to other places. I guess Colorado's probably not cheap to live in either, though. Like where you are now. Kind of like Seattle. Go ahead.
So I would say Seattle, Denver. I think we're all in the top 5. Not that I'm proud of that, right? It's something I want to be.
No, I know. We've often looked at other locations around the country, saying, "Man, what would our bang for our buck get us over here?" And it's like, wow, you can get you can get the same size house for half the cost, or you can get a McMansion for the price that you're going to sell your home for, but then it's also location, location, location. I just can't believe so many people love the dreary, gray, rainy skies around where I live, that has driven these prices. There is a lot of water where I live,
Sure.
a lot of salt and a lot of fresh water. And, if you look at my page or our YouTube channel, you'll see the water is always around us, because usually the people that hire us have some kind of a view, or they live on some kind of waterfront. So, which is great. There's so many homes, and you drive down the street and you're just like, how do all these people afford all these homes?
Right.
And all these amazing places. Some of them inherit, they're generational. Actually, quite a few. And then somewhere along the line, that generation's like, you know what? I can get $1 million for this, or $2 million, or whatever. I'm going to sell this joint. And then somebody else from California or wherever ends up buying that house because they wanted to get out of that area or whatever. I just hear this story all the time. People are migrating from different parts of the country. They really love the Pacific Northwest, or Colorado, or wherever they end up landing, and that's just how things go. And now the real estate prices are just getting to the point where it's hard to obtain a home unless you're highly qualified and all that good stuff. We're kind of going through that with Studio Man right now, right, Studio Man?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So first time buyer over here.
Good for you.
You guys want to start a GoFundMe for Calvin? Let's do it.
Yeah, I get it. We used to joke about that, but these days, what's a starter home, right? And a starter home is ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy.
What, a starter home around here, Calvin? You can't even buy a house for $400K.
No, not here.
You can buy, from what I've been finding, you can buy a fixer-up for $350. And when I say fixer-upper, I mean it's like the house is barely standing.
It needs a roof.
The hazmat team needs to come in first.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to put 100 to 200 into it to make it habitable. So if you're going to spend $350 and put 200 into it, you might as well buy something for $600 that maybe only needs a roof and new appliances and carpet and paint
And a deck.
Oh man! Oh, bro! I told my son, this is a proud moment for me. Okay, when he gets the house, him and his wife, his new bride, when they get their home,
New bride of 2 years.
Of 2 years, I still
awesome.
look at that. Hey, I've been married for 30 plus, so I get you, man. 2 years, and that congratulations, by the way, that's awesome.
That is big.
That is totally awesome.
Really cool.
So. But whatever size home he gets, wherever they end up, I told him, I am going to double your living space.
That's cool.
Okay, and I'm going to do it for free.
That's awesome, Dad.
And he just looked at me and just shrugged his shoulders and said, "Well, Dad, whatever." It's like he's basically giving me carte blanche. I'll take his wife into consideration in all this and ask her, "Hey, I know she's Brazilian, so she loves to cook." I'm like, we got to put an outdoor kitchen in this joint.
Totally.
Like something that she can it'll probably be just as nice, if not nicer, than your indoor kitchen. But she'll be able to go out and do whatever she wants, however she wants. And
Have you ever done that out of the kitchen where you change it? I'm going to botch the word, but to the window that folds straight this way so you can pass through to the outdoor kitchen?
You know what? I have done that before.
Isn't that cool?
Like a serving table.
Yes, yeah. I've done it once or twice where I designed it where because the client, I'm not going to take all the credit. The client definitely was starting it. So they put their kitchen here. She's like, well, what if I can just pass straight through? I'm like, that's brilliant.
And we've done it to where we actually extended the table either the full width of the window or even wider so they could have a buffet so that they can do pass-through, right? They do their pass-through, but then they can shove stuff down and then people can just serve up and they just keep shuttling things back. Took the screen off the window and they thought that was the coolest thing. I'm like, hey, man, we just made some little A-frames and basically a bench top.
That's cool.
And it was cool. I've done that a couple times. One time I made one that... it was kind of ghetto bracketry I bought at Home Depot, but I made one that folded down because they didn't want it up all the time. But when they did have a barbecue and they wanted to serve a lot of people, they wanted to be able to fold it up off the wall and have like a bracketed shelf.
Oh, sure. I'm following what you're saying.
Yeah. So we did that once as well, but not a ton. But yeah.
I struggle, and maybe you guys haven't, and you're just much smarter when you're doing big benches and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Finding something that doesn't make it way too heavy, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
doing
Mm-hmm.
custom built out with PVC or
Yep.
composite,
Yep.
and I always found like when you made them too big, it was just cumbersome. The reason I
Yeah.
bring that up when you talk about this, like that's a really hard. You're saying with bracketry, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how ghetto it was. If it works, it's not dumb because that's hard to
Yeah.
figure out the right
Yeah.
balance.
You know what I found? I don't even want to talk about this company, but I'm going to. I made some access panels on a deck out of this really thin aluminum product that I was using for a couple years.
Sure.
And the brackets, and they had like this 2x2 profile and these 90 brackets, dude. And I just locked one layer of this 1.5 inch stuff together and it became bionic. And then I screwed the decking, the PVC decking to it. And I had this 80-year-old dude that was just sold on us using aluminum for his frame because he wanted the deck to outlast him, and he wanted his grandkids to be able to use it, right?
Sure, yeah.
So he was sold on using it for the whole frame of the deck. But when I put this panel together, and it was a decent sized panel, it was like a 2 foot by 3 foot panel, which normally when you frame something like that in wood, and even if it's PVC, super light deck boards, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for an older homeowner to get out of the deck. This thing was so light, and then I put this really trick stainless steel hatch on, this boat hatch. I bought a bunch of boat hatches on a marine site or something like that, and I just keep them in my tool chest just for these type of moments. And I laid that in there, man, and he came walking around the corner, and he stopped. He went straight for it. And he took his finger and he stuck it in that boat hatch. He picked the whole thing up. He's like, oh, God bless you. He's like, this is the most amazing part of the deck. He was so happy. And I was like, from that point on, I was like, no matter what kind of deck I'm building, if I have to do an access panel for a dryer vent, for a crawl access, for whatever, for munitions, whatever, storage facility, tornado, whatever, that's what I'm going to do. So there's your tip of the day, folks. We haven't even gotten 10 minutes into this?
Yep.
Okay, whatever. That is a really hot commodity. So
that's a big deal, guys. I've spent years trying to figure that out. So thank you, Jason. That's not a joke. Now, I just have benches, and the elder people were just so frustrated. Like, it looks beautiful, but we can't. So you're spot on. That's a huge tip, especially for the young builders.
Yeah, I'm not going to give the name of the product out though because
I know what you're not doing.
I'm not happy with them. So I'm going to say something else instead because I heard through the grapevine. Now, okay. I'm kind of jumping around today a little bit, but with you, I have to because I'm going to build a pattern with you, but I need to know because you used to work at TimberTech. Do you still have an inside track there?
Do I have an inside track? Yes.
Okay.
I speak to the executive team, very often. I'm still great friends. If you look through my phone, I forgot I'm using my phone on my computer.
Yeah.
There's someone with the name TimberTech or AZEC every day. I'm very much still in love. Like we can talk later. It was a very hard separation. Like, I'm not joking. I had tears. Like,
of course,
they're a great family.
Okay. So, okay. Your tail end of this was probably you were aware of the merger, right? Or the acquisition.
I was. Yeah, that's public information. So I left after that, but it was in process. Like, we were acquired. I don't know if I stayed on until the final, but yes, it was in the process of happening.
Okay. So I guess where I'm going with all this, and back to the aluminum access panel thing, is that and I don't think a lot of people will understand how excited we are and how excited you got about just something so simple. But dude, I swear, right. I swear to you, like, dude, I made 2 access panels on this one deck, right? And one was for a dryer vent and one was for a faucet, like for a spigot.
Yeah.
And they just came together so beautifully and so easy and so perfect. And the lines were crisp and they all matched up and the thing just dropped in like Nirvana. Right. And I'm like, rock and roll. I figured something out. So, okay, here we go. So with that being said, and we're not talking about the company that I was using for that product, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, and if you don't want to comment on this, then we'll talk about it in Patreon, because you have to pay to hear this information sometimes. But that TimberTech is coming out with a thinner profile to go with their aluminum profiles that they have now for their framing, their aluminum framing product.
Interesting. I don't think you're on a wrong track. I cannot confirm or deny that, but I'm no longer an employee. I want to respect TimberTech greatly. But
NDA.
Actually, I don't know if I think I am. I may not be. But let's just say this: TimberTech. I was very blessed to be part of that team, even though I was on the contract development side. So Elijah over there, Jason Duvall, they really took a lot of. When I came over, they allowed me to help out. So I was an engineer, but so when I had Front Range Outdoor Living, we were the first aluminum frame in the wild per se. Obviously, they'd done testing, but the new aluminum frame we built that. Not me, but my company did in Boulder. And so with that, we were doing
you guys did the first test deck out of it, right?
Yeah, that big one in Boulder. We were the first.
As a matter of fact, I was supposed to come.
You were
and be part of that deal, but I don't recall why I wasn't.
It was in December. It was a lot going on. I remember it was a stressful. Yeah, it was just dates. I don't think it was anything crazy. But yeah, we had Chris Breen fly out. We probably had 30 or 40 people there. We were trying to get you out there. And of course, dumb me. Let's try it on a 3,000 square foot deck. What can go wrong?
I might have been in a non-disclosure agreement or something like that as well.
So-and-so.
With the other company that we were representing.
Funny enough, that timeline makes a lot of sense now. I didn't even think.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of history in this conversation today that or you're gonna back button and go.
Everything's like, oh, now I get why this is okay. So I think you were in long story. I'll get off this in a second, but so then I came over 9 months after that or whenever. I don't know the calendar. And one of the things I still respect about TimberTech, remember, they're not paying me more. I just happen to really love them is they're like, okay, great. What went right? What went wrong? They were talking to my project manager at the time, some of my installers, and they kept iterating. And then if you've met some of the other people they've brought onto the team, that has been absolutely fantastic. They've really grown it. It was really Elijah's pet project with Jason Duvall helping. Yep. And then it's grown from there. And what I can say without getting in trouble is they're not trying to be behind the curve. They're watching and seeing and trying to, in my opinion, leapfrog, right? They're like, okay, this is what they're doing. We're going to make sure when ours comes out, it's even better.
They're strategic. They're being strategic. And Elijah's a great dude. I love him to death. I actually brought him over to this other competitor, and we stood there in front of the owner, and we're just chatting and showing him, and then some of the TimberTech guys were walking by and they're looking at, because we're at a trade show, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, man. And so Elijah is of the mindset that, and Elijah's just another guy that works with TimberTech, and he's a great guy, and he's in charge of this aluminum framing part of the company.
And he's wicked smart. If people don't know him.
Yeah, he is. Elijah, props. Give you a big heart. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, he comes over with me. I'm like, I'm over the TimberTech booth, and I'm spending some time with him over there, and we start talking about this other product. I go, well, it's right over here. You want to go look at it? And he's like, sure, why not? And some of the guys are like very brand specific, and like they're kind of like, hey man, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, just calm down. It's cool. Right. We're just gonna go look at. I just want to show him a couple things. So I go over there and I show him everything. I give him the dirt. Like nothing that like would affect anybody, but just showing him the system and how his system works versus the TimberTech system and blah blah blah. And it was just interesting to see his eyes light up and his brain churn and kind of see where the strengths are in this product and where maybe the weaknesses are comparative to the other products that you guys are selling or something like that. So yeah, very interesting there. So back to the access panel, like that's a cool way. So I'm looking for an alternate Because eventually I'm going to run out of this extra 2x2 and bracketry stuff I have.
Sure.
I don't think I'm probably going to obtain any more of it. So, that's kind of dead in the water. We have picked up a new line of framing called PWT. Dude, I'm getting so far away from how I normally do this podcast. Fine. But yeah. So let's find out a little bit more about you.
Whatever's breezy, man.
Yeah, okay. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in a place called Littleton, Colorado, which is a suburb of Denver. I was very fortunate to have the national park in my backyard, so it was kind of fun.
Really?
So that's where I lived for. Yeah. So we were going shooting bows and ATVs. Yeah. It was a really genuinely awesome. So that's where I lived till I was about 7 years old, and then I moved to San Antonio, Texas.
So what year were you born?
1991.
1991.
I know, I'm still young. I turned 35 this year, man. I've done a lot in a little bit.
That's when I started Dr. Dex, is in 1991.
That's crazy. No way.
Yeah, no joke. In January of 1991.
I'm born December of 91.
Crazy, dude. Yeah. So yeah, because I've been in business for 35 years. As long as you've been alive. And I say that a lot. Not so much on my social media, but I say it a lot in person to people. I was like, man, I've been building decks longer than you've been alive, bro.
Totally. But guess what? It makes you gray pretty quick when you get in the industry.
Yes, yeah, it can make you gray unless you colorize it.
Yeah, you do it smart. Yep.
Yep. You gotta stay young. I think you're as young as you act, or you're as young as you look, and I try to take both in stride. And I want to be of age, but I want to be of a young age, so appearances, I feel like nowadays for me, appearances are somewhat important because I'm traveling a lot. I'm representing a lot of different companies and brands, and I'm showing up. So I got to watch what I say, how I say it, and how I present it,
That's smart.
Well, it is what it is. So you grew up shooting bows and arrows in the national. That's really cool. That would be kind of a fun. Yeah, man. So 7 years old, and then you guys moved to Texas?
Yeah, San Antonio, Texas. Yep.
What was that like? Hot?
Very hot. Hot is the correct word. Oh my gosh, hot. And you'll find out later I kept moving back there, which I don't know what's wrong with me. No, it was also awesome. So some background, my dad, it's a longer story, but basically a surrogate family who I consider my family on his side lives in a town called Kerrville, Texas, which is in the hill country above that, and then Corpus. So they sold their company, which is how I know about construction. They had a construction company and moved down there, and it was fun. It was hotter than heck, but again, kind of same. They had the ranch up in Kerrville, so a lot of hunting and fishing and outdoors, and I loved it. For me, it was football and cowboys and guns and fishing. It was kind of a boy's paradise, to be honest. It was
awesome.
Pretty cool.
Okay, so if you've never met Jade or you don't know Jade, and the first time you walk up to Jade and you meet him, you're going to do this. Hey, Jade. Nice to meet you. How are you? That's the first thing. So Jade is a large man. So he's a large human being. So you're 6'3"?
Like almost 6'7", but sure, close enough.
I thought I was being generous. Okay,
no, I'm about 6'6.5".
Wow.
But you shouldn't count halves at that size, so we'll just call it 6'6". We'll just keep it clean.
Do you ever bonk your head on things?
All the time. You learn to get better at it. So, and I imagine I traveled a bunch for TimberTech, and I still travel. Normally, I'm really good at planes, but I did just recently. What city? I forgot what city I was in. I think was it in LA? I think it was back in Texas. And I'm not. When I say I hit my head so hard, I genuinely felt my spine crunch down. Yeah, that was a bad day,
bro. Do you put it in your contract signing with companies like, I only travel first class because people just won't sit next to me, or you got to buy me 2 seats because. Who can sit next to you in a standard? I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm serious.
No. Listen, I'm very aware. Yeah. It's not. See, I've said I'm a large bird, but even when I was trim, so just so people understand, at my size, when I played sports, so that's why my shoulders don't even fit in the screen, right? Yes, I'm bigger other places. So even when I was at my fighting weight per se,
sure,
that's 270, and that's at 9% body fat.
Dude, okay, so I'm a wide dude as well. Okay,
Right,
I'm fairly big, broad shoulders. I don't travel well in coach. I don't really travel well in Comfort Plus. That's why I always take a window seat, because I always lean into it, and hopefully I try to pick a window seat where, I don't know, if you travel a lot, then you realize this. Some window seats have an extra divot with the window, but
sometimes they bump in on you too as well.
Sometimes they muscle in on you a little bit because it's how the plane lays out. So I choose certain flight rows in the flight that I try to get a dip. So I get an extra 4 inches of dip when I'm traveling, and I always fly a window, and I just don't pee very often unless I absolutely have to. Then I have to move everybody to get out and go. When Kiki's with me, she doesn't like this as often, but when we travel in Comfort Plus, I'll ask her to take the center seat so I can have the window, and then we only are bothering one person to get out, and depending on who she gets next to, it could be a blessing or a curse. Okay.
So to answer your question, it's funny you say that. Now that I'm in the consulting world, which we'll see how long that side lasts. I do in my contracts actually say, I might say business, because these days they call it business or first, but it does say in there, I need some business. Even at times like where I didn't have it in a contract, my first, I would expense them for Economy Plus, which I get for just because of the status when you fly enough. But then I would take my own money and do. But yeah, it's just. It is what it is these days.
Yep.
And also, I find that, while it's not fun, I can fit in Economy Plus. It's not fun for anyone. But if I'm going to go fly early, I want to be fresh. I don't mean that. I remember when people used to talk about, oh, you're doing this to actually make money. I thought they were being arrogant. No, genuinely, especially, so I spent a lot of time in California. And because of the 1 hour time change, I can make a breakfast meeting. I can leave, and I'm not a great morning person, but I can literally leave at 7. I think United's a 7:10, and fly into Orange County, and I'm on the ground by like 8:15.
Yeah,
I can make an 8:45. And again, being up front, I'm on carry on. There is a big difference. I'm off the plane in 2 minutes, not 15 or 20.
Yeah, and if you're only there for a couple of days, you're only taking carry on. You're not even packing a bag. Totally get that. I've been learning so much since I've been traveling.
Yeah.
And travel hack. I think I'm going to have you back on this podcast just to talk about travel hacks, because I'm sorry, like, we didn't discuss this before we started talking, but I would really love your opinion on how traveling as a large man is versus just somebody that's normal sized, man. Because so this intrigues me, because I've been stuck next to dudes that I don't think I've ever sat next to somebody as big as you.
No, I'm a rare breed, dude.
But so 6'6", 300 pounds, 270, somewhere in there, whatever.
That's when I'm trim right now. I have no problem saying I'm in the 4s, but yeah.
No kidding. Wow, I had no idea. You don't look like you're carrying 400 pounds.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So 275 for me is like 6-pack. I'm not joking.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like,
so yeah, that's why I brought really, like. So I tell everyone not to get too derailed, afraid to watch. I'm like, if you want to know like an athlete standpoint, and you look at shoulders, neck, and wrist, you can't fake that. Even if I'm so big, like the puffiness, you can just carry weight so much differently. Like, so you're a broad shoulder guy. I couldn't even guess. I know, and congratulations, you've obviously done well in your journey, but you look excellent, but I couldn't even tell your weight because you're broad. Dude,
I just cracked 200 pounds.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Finally, and it took me months to get there. Like, but I've opted to take a really hard, very strict way to do it, and I still don't like it. I'm not used to it, but it's intermittent fasting. I only eat about 3 hours out of the day. You got to figure out what works for you and your lifestyle and how it works. And if my wife was a foodie, I'd be sunk. I would be sunk but she's not.
Yep.
My wife is more of a eat to live kind of person.
Sure.
Like, she just eats when she has to just to obtain nutrition. She's never hungry.
That's how my sister is. People would be shocked. My sister's like 5'2", 110 pounds. And I'm not joking. True story.
You got all of it.
Yeah, we do have the DNA. Like, we are certain. But she's same thing. She'll have like 3 almonds and a berry, and I'm not exaggerating more
Yeah.
than I want to. And
Yeah.
she's like, "No, that's my feel." I'm like, "All right, God bless you."
Yeah. You know what? A couple things I thought when I stopped eating so much, I thought I was going to be weak and dizzy and lightheaded all the time, and I'm not.
Sure.
And then I also thought that, well, this one I kind of knew was I'm freaking hungry all the time. The hardest part for me is like after I get home after 4 p.m. because that's my cutoff time is 4 p.m. But I also have developed a very slow digestion, right? And when you get a slow digestive tract, I have had scopes down my throat and they've looked at nuclear eggs and they've x-rayed my body, you know, and I've eaten nuclear eggs and then they check your insides every 4 hour or every hour for 4 hours straight to see where the food is in your system. And they told me, they said, hey, little bit of bad news for you. You know, when after 4 hours, most humans have processed 80% of the contents of their stomach.
Okay.
Right. And they said, and after 4 hours with you still have 80% of the contents in your stomach.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I go, that's why I keep, like, in the morning, it's like, if I have steak or something, like a big meal late at night, I totally regret it the next day. So since I've cut back in the late night eating, it's really changed how I am. And I still, no matter what I do, like there's just certain things I have to, like I like Starbucks. I'll have a special way that I have it made, and I do the app and it's convenient. So I just put it on the app and I pre-order it, and then I drive through the drive-through. Good morning, Mr. Russell. Here's your stuff, and boom, I'm gone. Like I don't have to go half calf, mocha, you know, none of that stuff. I'm just like boom, 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 done, gone, back off to work. And I have my morning coffee, I have my morning tea, and then by the time I get to work, man, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
Now that's not part of my diet, but that's just something I'm not willing to forego.
So you're a tea and coffee?
I do a coffee, I do a mocha, an iced mocha.
Okay.
And then I have this thing called a medicine ball. And I suggest everybody that listens to this go have one. It's a hot tea, and it's they call it a honey citrus mint.
Interesting.
And I have 5 shots of honey syrup added instead of the 2 that they put in because you can't really taste the honey. So I tell them I want 5 shots of honey. So I said, give me a medicine ball with 5 shots of honey, venti. I always get a venti. If they'd make me a Trenta mocha, I would do it. So you're about 7, 8 years old. You guys moved to Texas.
Yep.
And get into that.
Yeah, so it was very interesting. We said earlier hot. It genuinely was hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of fun, and I used the word intentionally, like, hey, it was great for boys. I learned quickly. Wasn't the most fun for my mom and my sister, right? Because everything on the ranch was around. And I'm being serious, like, oh, you guys go cook while we go hunt and fish. And when you're really young, like, that's awesome. And then you get a little older, like, ooh, now I know why they don't love it as much as we love it. So for Dad and I, we went to, again, the family's ranch, 45 minutes away. I mean, that's what we do. And we were there. I mean, imagine any kind of fun. Getting on skid steers, clearing trees, fishing, hunting, smoking meats, and just, it was awesome. It was great. And then I got to experience, I think it's where we loved being a large human. I was skinny then, but I was very tall. I got to experience Texas football, right? And that was a lot of fun as a young man. So I enjoyed it, but it was hot. It was different. And we're Colorado natives. So I was 13, 12. We moved back to Colorado after a stint there, and I finished out my high school years, late middle, like 8th, 7th, 8th grade, I think, through high school back in Colorado.
Okay, so let's go back to junior high in Texas. Did you get started in sports early? Like, were you a 7th grade, like on the JV team? Did they move you to varsity? Were you like already big in 7th grade?
Yeah, so I started, I think my first year of tackle football, I was 8 years old or 7. And so we did baseball, basketball, football, the whole 9 yards. I loved football. I actually liked basketball more. I was tall, so I wasn't. I was always skinny, but I was like, my friends were like, I was skinny, but I had muscle. I just have such a big butt, arm span as well that it's hard. But anyways, So yeah, seventh grade, and that team, that little YMCA team, had 7 Division I football players off it, which is crazy because that wasn't like Pop Warner, it was just a
Mm-hmm.
get everyone together. And so to speed it up, yeah, we were big into sports. I didn't know the Texas thing. It's very interesting because I think it's because they have so many talented athletes. There's no moving at like sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. You play with your grade.
Okay.
Only when you go to high school.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, my freshman year of football in Colorado, I actually wasn't able to play due to injury.
Mm.
And my sophomore year, and I don't mean this braggadocious, but I played one half of JV. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
They said, nope, don't put him in for the second
Yeah.
half. He needs to go to play the varsity
Yeah,
game the next day.
exactly. I had a similar circumstance
Okay,
where
cool.
if I was a pretty good lineman and I was quick. I was, because I wasn't super tall, but I could pull. They used me as a pulling guard, and they would say, nope, you can't play the second half because you're suiting up for the high school for the seniors with the seniors this week. There was only 2 sophomores that suited up with the varsity team, and it was me and this other quarterback, and I didn't get to play much. I just would suit up, but then finally they started playing me just a little bit I guess towards the end of the season because they knew my junior year they were going to start me, and
that's awesome.
And I did. I played both ways in my junior year, and then senior year I think I did as well. But anyway. So I could definitely see it. So I wasn't a 3 sport person in high school, but it sounds to me like you played football, basketball. Did you do any other sports?
Yeah, I did track. So football ended up being, I guess, what I was best at. Basketball was where my love fell, and track was just super accidental. But I ended up in college participating in both football and track. In high school, I loved basketball. I'll tell one quick story about basketball. So I did play throughout my high school career in basketball. Well, it doesn't really matter. It was starting, did well, but I realized how much there was a different level of things. I think going into my sophomore going to junior year, I'm on the AAU circuit. They have this large tournament. One's called the Double Pump, and I think my age range back then was like Derrick Rose, John Wall, if you know about some of these huge names. And I could jump, I could dunk a little bit. I got jumped over, and when you say like people meet me and they look up, I started doing this a lot.
Oh my goodness!
And I was like, okay, I'm kind of good. I'm like, there was maybe some D2 or D3s that reach up, but I am no. I need to go focus on football, track.
Wow, how were your academics in high school? Like, did that play a part? Okay,
bad. I'm severely dyslexic. I'm very verbal, as you maybe can tell, too verbal. But when it comes to academics, was quite poor. Did much better in college than in high school.
Okay. All right. So let's get to that. So you're in high school, you have all the, sports, you're a great athlete. Academics not so good, but colleges are saying, "Hey man, we wouldn't mind having you on as such and such." So what did you decide to do, and where did you end up going?
Yeah, great question. So I'm not joking. I think I had like a 2.5 or something. We had to watch am I eligible for D1? Like I did decent on the ACT. So thankfully my ACT was high enough that I wasn't on the. But anyways, I ended up committing my junior year because I started all sophomore year, so I had tape already. I committed my junior year to a school called the University of Texas San Antonio. And the reason that's I told you I went back to that hot place. And the reason that's important to me now looking back is I didn't always realize, but I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. So my high school Castleview, I actually was supposed to go to another one. I joined that because I was the first ever full graduating class. There was one class ahead of me, but I went to a new high school. Same thing here. I had other opportunities, but UTSA was the first ever football program to go basically straight Division I. And they had a coach by the name of Larry Coker who had won national championships with Miami before. I was at the University of Texas at their camp. Let me be super clear. I had no business being at UT. Okay, I don't want anyone to think I'm that conceited that I thought I was going to go to UT. I just wanted to go have fun and try. And I met a recruiter named Eric Rourke there. And he was like, hey, I'm a UTSA. And I was going back in full circle, going back to Grandpa's ranch, staying there from Austin. And Austin, Kerrville, San Antonio's in the middle. He's like, will you stop by? It's like, no. So for context, people know, UTSA was like the commuter school. It was basically a glorified community college when I lived there. I used to live 15 minutes away. I was like, I don't want to come back. Anyway, speed up the story. I show up like, oh, wow, you guys have done a bunch of work to this place since I've been gone. This is really cool. I was like, holy smokes, here's, Coach Coker, who I do know. I didn't realize this guy was going to be there. So they extended me a scholarship offer. I accepted, went there for not very long. And without getting into the drama, dumb decisions of girls, I decided to chase one back to Colorado, which is unfortunate. Not because of her, but because that would have been a really special thing to write out. So I ended up transferring to Colorado State University from there.
Okay. Did you play anything at Colorado State University?
So D1 to D1, you had to redshirt. And so I was on the team. I was on the football team and the track team. But I know I don't ever make this. I don't talk about the sports thing a lot. And here's why. I'll talk about it a little bit. Yes. Did I achieve a scholarship Division I level? Yes. That's 1%. Oh, that's cool. And I'll get off this team. There's so many people. It's like coulda, woulda, shoulda. Oh, if it wasn't for my knee, my coach hated me. All these things.
Yeah.
So I was not a performing Division I athlete. Okay, I was there. I practiced. I don't have a single game experience. To speed it up, after the practice sessions, I had concussions, which everyone had, but mine. They decided to go to track, and this is not a sob story. This is how life works. I blew my shoulder out, which is fine. They repaired it. So that's what I'm saying. When people say they have surgery, so do I. If you're good, you'll be able to go back. And then I just kind of lost it. I started working, started partying for the first time. Like in high school, I think I drank like 3 times. I was not a rebellious kid. And then I found college, and I had a little bit of fun there.
All right. Fair enough. As you should. That's what life's all about, figuring it all out. And, okay, so did you get a degree? Did you graduate?
I do not hold a degree. No, I went for a long time, but I do not hold a degree.
All right, fair enough. But did it help you in any way, like figure out what you may or may not want to do with your life?
Ooh, actually, no one's asked me that question. I need to think about it. College helped me. Did it help me know what I want to do with my life? No, because I was always an entrepreneur. And by the way, the thing I'm in the construction industry, and I know we'll touch on that later. Like my parents made me promise to never get in the construction industry because they were so. Shout out mom and dad, Mike and Lynn, love you. We joke about it now, but they're kind of upset. I think what college helped me is what I'm probably best at in business, to be completely honest, is understanding network and people and connections.
Okay.
I'm not the academic. I'm not even the tradesman. I wish I had some discernible skills. I enjoyed bouncing around. Like I love business law. Never forget Mac Danford. What a great professor. And why do I still remember that? Because he was just that good.
That's cool.
Real estate law was another great business class. So I remember certain of these that I still remember great things from. That's the most I can say about college.
Okay.
I wasn't in a fraternity. I didn't have this network where my daddy was going to go, get me into his finance firm after. But gotcha. I had a lot of great experience learning individual things that I cared about and then connecting with people.
Okay. All right, cool. So if you didn't get a degree, what ended your college career, and then what did you do from there?
So I started, oh boy, what's considered a real business, what's not. I guess I started my first business when I was 19 or 20. Sure, 20. And that was actually going out and speaking on concussions and then working with a football helmet called Zenith. Now they're more well-known, but when I joined them, they were a very small startup out of Lowell, Massachusetts. And so I was really working on educating, speaking, which turned into my first sales job. I ended up then selling the football helmets. And I was still doing that even though I was busy. So I'd be like, that's when my first on the road started. So I would travel Thursday through Sunday, go to a new, from April to August, I would go to a new city and follow this track. And then I met an individual in the security line, who he had already started the businesses, but to make quick, I became a partner and we ended up doing experiences for real estate. So to make that more succinct, we would set up Aspen skiing or fishing or these things for people in the multifamily industry. So debt equity providers, lenders, advisory firms, realty firms, vendors, operators, maintenance, developers. And that was, so my foray into business was doing those. And that's kind of what ended up ending it when I was just getting to the point where I was working already way more than 40 hours a week, plus going to school. So that's what that happened.
Okay. All right. And then what'd you do after that?
I had one more company called Valor Agency. It was an interesting company, which is why I told you I had a partner first in front manufacturer living. So his name's Anthony Morehouse. I'll keep it kind of short because it's very intriguing actually. He's a great dude. He's former special forces and had a company called Dynamic, where it was an emergency call center in Australia. So what we did is we went to high net worth individuals with companies like Jet Links, and we provide either pre-travel services for security and medical. So clients would go to crazy places. Morocco, I'm super high net worth. Can you do a threat assessment for me? Make sure I have a go bag because I have these medicines. Can you make sure I have different assets? We had different wearables, click two buttons, tracking devices, all that fun stuff, wrapped in insurance. And then we also had the medical stuff. So that would be responding to an event. Like there was times where people were caught in hurricanes and could not get out on islands, and we would have assets, whether it's not that we owned, we had access to, whether helicopters or planes, to be able to get people in, bring them out. Airplane crashes, or simply I'm in a foreign country and I don't feel good. There was a kidnap and ransom insurance part to it. So very, very fascinating business. And I went straight from that to Dex.
Wow. That is a really interesting business to be in. Like threat assessment and like it's things that like most of us don't ever worry about. Like I'm so wealthy. I wonder if somebody's going to try to kidnap me while I'm in Mongolia.
Right.
Hey, can you run the calculations on that, Jade?
No, it was awesome. I learned so much. Like, so we dealt with some families. Obviously, can't say, but like we were some families where there was, what was it, three brothers and a dad, and the dad could only fly with one of the brothers. They had to rent two jet. Well, they actually owned one. They had to rent two jets everywhere they went, because if you had all the brothers and the dad in one plane and they all went down, the Enterprise would. So like there was crazy. I don't ever think about that. It's like they couldn't, no matter where they went. If it was only a couple, they couldn't rent one jet. They had to rent two. Their insurance company actually made them. People, like a lot of oil and gas exploration that maybe people don't know in Africa and so forth, and how you have to have emergency operations for that. It was very interesting. I learned a ton.
Yeah, I can see the logic in that. Actually, it's kind of like a little
it's morbid.
bit. Yeah, it is a little bit morbid, and I'm gonna say something else. It's a little bit morbid too. Kind of like the multi-billionaire that went down in that submarine to see the Titanic, and he took his son with him, and both gone at the same time. Boom, implosion, and you're dead. It's kind of unfortunate, but it's like, wow, maybe they should have gone down in separate subs to see the same thing. I don't know, like, is there a successor to that? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. That's what popped in my head when you were saying all that stuff. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I could see why possibly, if you're that wealthy and you have that much influence and your whole family is part of that, and you all go down in the same jet, then there's no legacy left to fulfill, so
100%.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so you finished that off. What got you into Dex?
So what got me into Dex? So that company still won, the woulda, shoulda, couldas. I don't do that in sports. I do that with this company.
Mm-hmm.
It was a profitable company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really not getting into too many details, but there was 3 partners in three's company.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say one partner had issues with the salary requirements for a venture-backed company being too low. And so we had to make the painful decision to actually send back some of our investment and close the company down. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
well, why does that matter? Well, this is how I got into decks. So, growing up, my parents had a interior trim company. They
Mm-hmm.
trimmed for a company named Richmond America. People may know the name now. They're a large home builder, but back then they were a very small company, medium company in Denver. So they founded that. My mom was really the driver of that, and then ran that, and then sold that when we went to San Antonio. So as a young man, I was around it, but I didn't like grow up in it.
Mm-hmm.
When we came back to Colorado, my dad started at first like a handyman, but became a GC, like a true GC. You know, about deck builders, we have to be GCs, but he's the guy that would do your remodel. But he ended up doing a lot of decks. And so when I was in high school, again, not a carpenter. I want to make sure none of this ever comes out to like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a carpenter, so I don't go to a natter event and be like, "Oh, Jade, you're a deck builder." Like, no, I'm not. So I was a greenhorn. I was a laborer. I moved. I dug holes. I did so I did some of that, and it was cool. It wasn't a bad time. I did a little bit of that in the summers. And so I got to know about decks. And then it's going to sound crazy when we were shutting down the company's called Valor Agency. My partner and I sat down with my dad, and he was like, I think the biggest niche is decks. You guys can probably do them profitably because you're good at sales and figure it out. And I'm not joking. It went from that to like, okay, let's figure this out. I created our first website on Wix.com, if anyone remembers that. Um, we went to the supply store and had to learn the difference what S4S was between a. No, I'm being dead serious. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the basis we started at. And then I think the first deck I sold was a sand and stain that I did myself. I think I had lattice to it as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And then boom, we jumped into like some big boys.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's basically how the deck
Okay.
business.
What was the name of that company?
That was called Front Range Outdoor Living.
Okay. And then what was your role in that company?
President, CEO, founder.
Okay.
I didn't people use all those words, but yeah, whatever. Pick one of them that you want to use.
And then you would occasionally build, but then you ran a team of people that would assemble. Or
Well,
what
me be clear. I never built. So I did like the sanding and staining of the one deck.
Okay.
I'm not a builder. In fact, if you want to know the last time I cut a deck board, I'll tell you. And if you hear this, name is Spencer Wilson. What a wonderful customer. But this had to be like 2019, 18. And it was we were really proud at the time. It was like a 1,600 square foot deck with a patio cover. And so it was a big deal to us, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Christian Comp was one of my lead carpenters. And he's like, hey, Jade, how about you cut the last board? I'll never forget. 20-foot square edge coastline as the breaker board. Friday afternoon, I inched it. So it went from this amazing. So supply houses shut down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to now all come back Monday.
Monday, yeah.
We don't get paid on Friday. So
thanks, boss.
Yeah. So that's the last time I have cut a deck board with a compound miter saw.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Hey, some people are born to work the business, and some people are born to run the business. I've never been a guy to be able to only run the business. I had to do both. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are preaching you shouldn't be working your business. You should be running your business. And here's how you're going to do it. And I'm going to coach you on all that. And I think there's a lot of people in there that need that structure that can use those systems. I think that because I've been in business for so long, it probably doesn't apply to me because I'm in the fourth quarter of my career.
Right.
At least in my construction career.
Yeah, respect, right?
I'm in the first quarter of my social media career, but I'm in the fourth quarter of my construction building part. The Bobby Parks model's coming soon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to see the luscious locks.
No, I used to have them, man. I used to have longer hair than Bobby.
That's awesome.
But that was many, many moons ago. And anyway, so yeah, it's interesting. So there's absolutely nothing wrong. There's other guys that are influencing on the internet right now that don't touch a stick.
Yep.
And then there's some of us that just grind ourselves into oblivion because we don't know any better, or, maybe I haven't been looking, but I just can't seem to find the right combination of people that I can put in place to do what I do. I don't know if that's possible because some of the stuff we do is a little out there. It's a little aggressive. It's a little it's super artsy and takes a certain set of skills to accomplish. But I think, I've had all that fun in my career now. So now maybe it is time to run the business like you do.
Well, it's a bit, I'm glad you brought this up and segued it, because funny enough, I love that you said, and I want to reiterate this, it is okay for both. It genuinely is okay, because I've even gotten some hate, I think, not on purpose of shadow, like, oh, but if you can't why are you at Nadra if you're not a deck builder? It's like, well, dude, I'm not mad at you. Why are you mad at me? You know what I mean? Like,
I own the joint, bro. Come on. I paid for the entry fee. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And it's, so I guess, I find deck building to be such a unique trade. Now we can call it a trade because it almost wasn't. I mean, you're literally one of the pioneers of it. And that, why don't we want us all to do well, right? It's like, well, if you're a decorator's guy and I'm a TimberTech guy, we need to sit at separate tables. And we don't even talk to those Trex guys because those guys really suck. I'm joking. Please, no one clip this incorrectly.
No, it's true. It's true, man.
True, though. It's totally true. And it's like, I'm not super skilled. I have, besides dyslexia, I have the finger, the fine motor skills of a 3-year-old. Great. I'm not a deck builder. Like I said, it's also equally hard. How do you run a business where you have to make a profit, but you have to find individuals to build properly, feed them, feel like you're taking care of their family, not taking advantage of them, while taking care of yours and the customer, charging enough to make a profit, but not overcharging, is a very different skill set. And I've done really poorly at it, and I've done very well at it. And I think that's a lot. I don't know if a lot of us, and maybe just men in general, acknowledge, like, there's times it wasn't good. Like, I've not always been really good at this. I sucked.
Well, I think that, to be honest, and this is so true, time will teach you better than any lesson that you can learn. So if you do something over and over and over, 10,000 hours, man, 10,000 hours. I have 10,000 hours of deck board bending. Well, I'm a master. I'm a certified master of it, self-proclaimed. But I also have the awards to kind of prove it. So so we have backup. I also have thousands of people that will vouch for it. But whatever, man. I'm not here to brag. All I'm saying is, if you put enough heart and energy into anything, unless you're just absolutely two-thumbed about it, you're going to master it,
Right.
And so it's being able to have the time and the energy to do what it is you're trying to do. And you put your energy into the business, the management and the running of your business more than I'm sure I ever have.
Sure.
I ran my business because I had to.
Right.
Not because I elected to run the business and not work the business. I guess I really am a hands-on kind of guy, and I did enjoy the actual physical labor of it all. But some days I don't, when it's coming down rain and it's cold and I'm soaked and, I look up and my face is getting wet while I'm just like asking God, why is this so, how can so much water fit in those clouds? Like,
that's a really funny.
Seriously, like how much, how heavy water is? Like, how can that much weight just be suspended in midair? And it's all coming down on me right now, But it is what it is. It
feels like 1,000,000 pounds, right? And
February and March are like torture.
That's gotta suck. It's it's interesting, right? And then the journeys we're talking about, whether we're in the business, on the business, like right now, a huge shout out of the GHS Exteriors. Like, I'm not the owner of that company. Keith and Ernest are the owner of that company. I'm coming in to build something within. I don't need to get in the financial position there, but like they are that's a different story. But that's a unique, because like I think the story will actually go really well because it's already starting to go really well.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't also like they're paying for it. Does that make sense? Like there's difference when I was at Front Range when I had to worry about everything you have your whole life, worry about every nickel and dime and who's getting fed. And
Yeah.
right now I'm in charge of a P&L.
Mm-hmm.
Like I run the deck division, but the truth is I'm not dealing the same stress. It's just the
Right.
truth.
Yeah. Well, good for you. It's probably better on your heart.
It is now, but at the same time, I'm still back to being an entrepreneur, right? Because I'm not an employee. I could get fired. Well, I don't, anyone can, but I'm based on month to month terms. So how I do this as a fractional is I'm like, dude, I'm not going to tie you down. If you think I suck, I suck.
Mm-hmm.
So I still kill what I eat in essence. I still very much am an entrepreneur. I still have my own taxes and I'm, my own company is, Pender Consulting Group. So I am in that sense. I just don't want to fool people when we meet up again at Deck Expo or wherever that, oh, Jade's back completely solo. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I am running a business. I did build this, but it's underneath because I did this once. But after I left TimberTech, the reason I left TimberTech was to go do this for a very large company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stay out of saying their name for a lot of reasons. But then that's when I was like, man, I got to get back to entrepreneurship. I really, whether that's a consultant, whether that's completely doing it on my own, it's that itch. I don't know. I hate just it's just,
Okay.
it's there. I don't want it. It's something I wish I was.
It's something you can't help, man.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's what it is. So guess what, Jade?
What's up, brother?
We're already out of time.
Oh man, well,
we didn't even finish your story.
That's all good.
If you guys want to hear more about Jade and what we're about to get into, because the best stuff is yet to come, I know already because I know what we're going to talk about. But you got to go over to Patreon. You got to look up Dr. Dex, and you got to subscribe to hear it. We're going to get into why Jade left his last deck building company to start working with a company called TimberTech. And this is where I really got to know Jade well, and we're going to get into all that. And then we're going to find out why he left TimberTech and now is currently doing what he's doing. But if you want to hear it, it costs you $5 a month. Go over and click subscribe. Jade, thank you so much for being on this podcast with us today.
Thanks, brother.
I really do enjoy it, and I enjoy you and everything about you, man. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your journey. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, brother. Hopefully this helps someone. Thanks.
All right, man. From Tacoma, Washington, this is Dr. Dex signing out. Studio man, hit that music, and we'll see you on the next one. Over and out.